Welcome to the schedule reveal of the NCAA Spring Fantasy Season, kicking it off with Week 1. Wow, what a game. We have Alabama at Ohio State. This is happening at the Chick-fil-A kickoff in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium down in Atlanta, Georgia. What a way to kick off the season. Two amazing MAC teams, 3 versus 2. This is Week 1. This is the only game this week. Wow. If we go on forward to week number 2, we can see that Akron goes to Texas A&M. That should be an easy one. Old Dominion at Clemson. That's running into a brick wall. Iowa State is traveling to Purdue. I would not be worried about that one. Looking at Iowa State, they seem to be having a great offense. Mississippi State is going to Cincinnati. The Bearcats looking to take on the Bulldogs. I'd bet on the Cincinnati Bearcats on that one. And then we're getting back into MACtion. Alabama will be taking on Coastal Carolina. You're going to see that Aqua Turf in action. If we head over to week 3, we're going to see Ball State at Ohio State. That's a classic matchup. Goes back to the start of the MAC conference. Iowa going to Iowa State. That's a classic in-state rivalry matchup. Alabama is going to the Christ-fearing, God-loving Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Cincinnati's going to travel to Nebraska. I wouldn't worry about that one. Clemson heading down to Georgia. Devil went down there once. It didn't turn out so good for him. Hopefully Clemson can come out alive. Good old Buffalo is going to Texas A&M. Something about barbecue there. I'm not really sure. Georgia State going to Oklahoma. I believe Oklahoma did steal some players from Georgia State. This should be interesting. UTEP at Coastal Carolina. Once again, Coastal Carolina might be coasting into a couple easy wins here. If we head down to week 4, this is when we start to get into it. Ohio State at Iowa. Iowa's coming off that game with Iowa State. Oklahoma at Alabama, and this is really when we start to kick off MAC play, and I can't wait. Ball State at Notre Dame. I believe Ball State just played Ohio State the week before. That's a tough gauntlet right there for them. Kentucky is at Iowa State, and then we have Cincinnati at Miami of Ohio, not Miami. In case you get confused, that's a nice little night game for you. Heading into week 5, we have Wisconsin at Ohio State. Should always be a good game back when they were Big Ten brothers. Texas A&M is at Arkansas. App State at Clemson. Once again, some players from App State were stolen in the draft this year, so I'd be looking out for App State, trying to get a little payback. Notre Dame at Oklahoma, another great MAC game. Can't wait for that one. That's at 1 p.m. on Saturday, September 28th. Coastal Carolina at Cincinnati. Starting off at 6 p.m. We should go nice into the night. Can't wait for that one. And then Ole Miss at Alabama at 9 p.m. A nice night game, throwing back to the old SEC days. We head to week 6. A lot of byes this week. Ohio State's going to Notre Dame. Alabama at Iowa State, and Coastal Carolina at New Mexico. Once again, Coastal Carolina getting off easy at the start of the season, but I'm pretty sure it's going to get ramped up here. Week 7, we have Texas A&M at Ohio State, Oklahoma at Texas, Iowa State at Louisiana, Notre Dame at Clemson. That's a classic matchup, throwback to the playoff a few years ago, and Cincinnati at Alabama. Night game at Tuscaloosa. Watch out, Bearcats. You're going to have to bear down. Going into week 8, we have Clemson at Ohio State, Pittsburgh at Cincinnati, Arkansas at Alabama. We have Texas A&M taking on Coastal Carolina. Once again, we're going to be seeing that Aqua Turf in action. Can't wait to see it. Oklahoma's taking on that neighbor to one of their sides, Kansas. Who knows where Kansas is? And then the classic USC at Notre Dame. That is a rivalry game that we love. Ohio State in week 9 is going to Cincinnati. That's going to be a tough one, both for the Bearcats and the Buckeyes. Coastal Carolina is at Oklahoma. Texas A&M is at Notre Dame. Iowa State is at Clemson. And Alabama skips out on MACtion, gets a nice little matchup with Tennessee. In week 10, we have Oklahoma at Ohio State, Clemson at Coastal Carolina, Navy at Notre Dame. Once again, that's a classic game that you cannot miss. And then you have Iowa State at Texas A&M. We are in the midst of MACtion right now, and I can't wait to see how these schedules are shaken out. It's going to be very, very interesting. In Week 11, we have Ohio State at Iowa State. Going to be a good one. Oklahoma at Clemson. Going to be a good one. LSU at Alabama. Going to be a good one. Bowling Green at Coastal Carolina. Going to be a good one. Cincinnati at Texas A&M. Going to be a good one. Week 11, looking like a real good one. If we head over to Week 12, this is when it's going to start getting cold in some of those northern schools. Cincinnati might have snow on the ground here. Iowa State is at Oklahoma. Clemson is going to Texas A&M. By this time, I feel like Texas A&M is going to be ground down. MAC is a tough conference this year, and I don't suspect them to stick around very long looking at their ratings. Coastal Carolina is going to go try and beat up some Mormons at BYU. Classic. And then Notre Dame is heading to Cincinnati. We were just talking about snow a couple minutes ago, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw just a little bit of dusting. November 16th, you never know. Heading into Week 13, we have Iowa State at Cincinnati. Once again, watch out for that weather. Clemson's heading down to Alabama. Classic game, going to be nice and warm in Tuscaloosa versus up in Cincinnati. Coastal Carolina heading north to Notre Dame. Now, that also, weather might be in play. Oklahoma is heading down to Texas A&M. I wouldn't worry about anything there. That should be a great night game on Saturday, November 23rd. If we head over to Week 14, this is rivalry weekend, and as you can see here, Ohio State is headed to Michigan. They're classic rivals to the north. Cincinnati is going to be taking on Oklahoma. Coastal Carolina with their arch rival Iowa State. Clemson looks to destroy South Carolina. I would not even be worried about that game if I was Clemson. Texas A&M at Missouri, I guess that's not really a rivalry, but Notre Dame at Stanford, that's a big one. That sounds interesting. A lot of night games, which is interesting for November, but hey, I'll take it. And then if we go all the way to Week 15, the last week of the season, this is how MACtion ends. Ohio State is going to Coastal Carolina. We're going to end the season December 5th for Ohio State and Coastal Carolina at 3:30 p.m. Cincinnati's heading to Clemson on the 7th. Texas A&M is at Alabama. Oklahoma is playing their arch rival Oklahoma State. And Notre Dame is going to be taking on Iowa State. And after that, we're headed right into championship weekend, and then it's really going to shake out. Anyways, thank you for checking out this schedule. There's a lot to look forward to this season in MACtion, and I can't wait to enjoy it all with you.